For the longest time, I avoided this guitar. Maybe because it just felt too obvious. You want to play metal, then this is what you use. That's the impression I got growing up. I mean, it's the official guitar of the very godfathers of metal. It even has cutaways that look like devil's horns, so all of that just felt a little bit too on the nose, a little bit too straightforward. Then, in my early 20s, when I was very active in a band, I started seeing this guitar everywhere, but this time being used by groups who I couldn't identify with. So I always thought this guitar is just not for me. Until that is, I went and bought one, and OMG, a complete 180-degree turn of opinion.
Wait, so at first you were afraid, you were petrified.
No, I wasn't afraid.
And then it's used by bands with whom you can't identify.
Oh God.
And then you spent so many nights thinking this guitar's just wrong, then you grew strong.
I'm leaving.
Oh, come on, man. Don't go. I swear I'll stop.
Okay, I'm back.
From outer space.
So what changed my mind about this instrument? In this episode, we're going to talk about the Gibson SG and find out why it's quite possibly the most surprising guitar I've ever played. But before we do, please hit the subscribe button below. It helps me keep making more videos like this and even buy somebody a Spotify account. Finally. Okay, so picture the scene. It's 1960. Fender is dominating the market with the Stratocaster. That futuristic product that they created simply made the Les Paul ancient in comparison. Enter Ted McCarthy, president of Gibson at that time. "Listen, boys," he says, "we gotta take the fight to Fender. We need a lighter guitar with something like a comfy belly cut, so we stop pissing off our big bone customers.
Big bone?
And the cutaway, let's do 2 instead of 1, because everyone is migrating to the east of the fretboard." And so the design team at Gibson came up with something completely different. A lightweight electric guitar with double cutaways and beveled edges, with a pick guard that accentuated the devilish curves of the body. It was indeed a Strat fighter, but it was also unmistakably a Gibson. For one, it had a set neck similar to the Les Paul, and very different to the Strat's bolt-on neck. It also featured a rosewood fingerboard just like the Les Paul, plus the headstock had 3 tuners on each side, and notably, it kept the 2 humbucker configuration. Gibson knew that this was a key tonal feature that made their brand distinct in the market. So the SG standard came with 2 PAF humbuckers, similar to what was installed in the Les Pauls of previous years. Now interestingly, even though it was a convincingly different product, Gibson originally released the SG in 1961 as the next generation of Les Pauls. But Les Paul, the man who co-created his namesake guitar, didn't want to have anything to do with this new model.
Why?
Well, it's widely known he didn't like the design of this guitar, but some sources have also said that he was going through personal challenges that made him avoid any kind of tie-in partnership with brands. So anyway, in 1963, 2 years after its release, the name Les Paul was dropped, and this guitar simply came to be known as the SG, short for solid body guitar. It went on to become an icon of the 60s and 70s. From George Harrison to Frank Zappa, from Carlos Santana to Angus Young, Tony Iommi, and of course, the first to champion the guitar, Sister Rosetta Tharpe. The SG made waves in the music world and would continue to do so through the decades, all the way to the emo years of the early 2000s and even to the sludge and doom metal scene of today. Fast forward to 2023 and the SG is essentially the same, but with a few improvements, such as the neck now being more securely set in place. There is, however, one issue that they never quite got to fixing, and that is something I discovered when I finally got my own SG. In 2022, I joined a band called Steadfast, which plays a unique mix of 70s vintage rock with very bluesy modern elements. Neil, the lead guitar player, has this thing for down tuning, which gives the music more thickness, more sonic depth. So I decided to get a guitar that I can permanently down tune to D standard. So I thought, what guitar is perfect for down tuning? Okay, let's find out by figuring what kind of bands downtune a lot.
Doom bands.
Right, and what do they use?
Darkness.
Guitar. What guitar do they use?
The Gibson SG.
And so I gave in. I gave it a shot. I found a great secondhand SG on Facebook, put baritone strings on them, and now it's the guitar I use for Steadfast. And here is how it sounds. Maybe this is a lesson in don't knock it till you tried it. Or maybe I've just reached that point in my music exploration where the SG finally is the perfect fit.
Or maybe you overthink things and secretly love emo?
Maybe. I'm not above considering that too. But bottom line, this is a fantastic guitar. It's such a workhorse and it does everything very, very well. I love playing it on stage. I love writing riffs on it. It's fantastic with effect pedals, especially fuzz. And I know when we get to recording steadfast music, it's going to do wonders. There is one thing, however, that this guitar is notorious for since it first came out. The neck dive. The weight balance is a little off, so if you're standing up, the guitar tends to plunge downward from the neck. But this is a minor issue. You can counter this by putting some weight on the body or by simply using a strap with a rough underside, like leather or suede, which grips on your shoulder, preventing the guitar from dipping. So all in all, I couldn't recommend the Gibson SG enough. And you don't even have to play downtuned rock to really enjoy it. It's great for whatever genre of music you could possibly play. But what do you guys think? Are you fans of the Gibson SG? Do you like it as much as I do? Let me know by leaving a comment below. Until next time, this is Michael Fillon, aka LOUDMIKEDXB, wishing that you keep discovering new sounds, new music, and even new points of view. And now I leave you with the heartfelt words of Survivor. I was living for a dream, loving for a moment, taking on the world, that was just my style. Now I look into your eyes, I can see forever. The search is over. You were with me all the while. May you always overcome your personal challenges, everyone. Later.